Hello everyone, welcome back to Shred Guitar in the 80s. Today's going to be a fun day. I'm going to look at some Randy Rhoads inspired neoclassical sequences, and we're also going to look at Greg Howe, the first Greg Howe album, the debut of Greg Howe back in 1988. So let's get started. When I first heard Randy Rhoads in 1981 on the Blizzard of Oz, I was just blown away. I loved everything about Randy. His rhythm playing was incredible, his songwriting, and his solos were just so memorable and just brilliant with brilliant technique. And one of the things that really blew me away the most was his triplet feel, his sense of swinging triplets. On songs like Mr. Crowley and Believer, he would just play these really cool flowing triplet lines with the pentatonic scales. After practicing those runs of Mr. Crowley and Believer for hours to try to get that triplet feel happening, when I started to get it down, I thought it would be fun to apply it to 3-note per string scales, and I thought it'd be fun today to show you what I came up with. The way that I did it, in this case, would be I'd pull off 7, 15 to 13 on the first string with a downstroke. Then with the downstroke, I pick 15 and pull off the 13. Then I hammer to the second string at the 17th fret without picking with my pinky. So I get. Then with an upstroke, I play 13 on the first string. Then I pick 17, 15 down up on the second. Pick 17 on the second, pull off the 15, pull off the 13. So it's like a combination of pulling off and picking. And I really like the sound of that. It's very flowing, but it also has a nice rhythmic quality to it. You can just do it descending in the key of D minor. It would sound like this. You can also do that lick across all 6 strings descending. And if we stay in the key of D minor, we can do it at the 6th position here. It sounds like this. And that lick slow would be basically the same lick that I'm doing here. So here's what it would sound like across all 6 strings slow. And the scale shape that I'm using in D minor would be this. It would be 10, 8, 6 on the first and second string. Then you have 9, 7, 5 on the third, 8, 7, 5 on the fourth and fifth. Then you got 8, 6, 5 on the sixth. So you get this. You can also do that in a harmonic minor scale, which sounds really cool. If we take D harmonic minor and we do it here, and slower, that run would be this. So that's basically a D harmonic minor or A Phrygian dominant. have not heard the clinic he did in 1982 in Pennsylvania. I think it was early 82, just shortly before he passed away. I really recommend going on YouTube right now and listening to that. It's just brilliant. I can't stress just how amazing it is to hear Randy just in a small group environment with his guitar talking about his playing, talking about some of the players he liked that influenced him and demonstrating his licks. This early 2000s issue of Guitar World magazine actually has a lot of that clinic transcribed. It's really amazing to listen to the clinic and follow along with this book, this magazine. It's so cool to hear Randy just discuss how he came up with stuff, and he's using kind of a clean tone, and he's just so open and honest and so modest. I mean, Randy was a really special person also. Some of the examples he shows in the clinic are the lead breaks from songs like Over the Mountain, Revelation from Mother Earth, Flying High Again, Crazy Train, Diary of a Madman. He gives some examples of alternate picking and hammer-on and pull-offs. And actually, Paul Gilbert was at one of those clinics, and I heard Paul talk about it in an interview, and he said he asked Randy about picking. Paul was getting into picking then, and he said Randy proceeded just to play these blazing alternate picked lines and just blew him away. Paul's a big Randy fan also. So I really recommend going online and looking that up if you haven't heard it. It's the Randy Rhoads Clinic from Pennsylvania, 1982. So as a Van Halen loving kid, I was just blown away by the first Greg Howe album. I first heard him from a flexi disc in Guitar Player magazine, and it was the Pepper Shake and a little bit of Bad Racket. I'm not sure if the whole Bad Racket was on there, but I know some of it was. And I was just blown away by how fluid he was, and he had that kind of Van Halen-y kind of feel, that element that I love, but he also did arpeggios and blazing fast runs, and he could pick. And his phrasing was just brilliant. That early Greg Howe stuff is just killer. Some other cool songs off this album are Kick It All Over, which starts out with a really cool riff and goes into this really cool tapping thing. I love Red Handed, it's another great one. Little Rose is a nice ballad with some really tasty stuff. Super Unleaded is another cool track. Land of Ladies, just really amazing songs, really catchy, great writing. And then he released a brilliant album, High Gear, with his band How To, that featured his brother on vocals. It was just an amazing album. I listened to that like crazy, just chock full of killer hooks and amazing guitar solos. I think their follow-up to that was Now Hear This, another cool album. His later stuff would go into more of a fusion-y kind of thing, which I love too, and I bought all those albums and listened to them like crazy. He also did some neoclassical stuff in the early 2000s, which is really cool also. So Greg's still out there playing, doing amazing stuff, and I still love his playing. If you haven't heard it, check out the first album, Greg Howe. It's a great place to start if you're coming from the rock realm. Well, thanks a lot for joining me today. I had a lot of fun showing you some of these sequences. To those of you that have liked and subscribed, thank you so much. And until next time, have fun picking.